This week we will cover Java server pages, also known as JSPs, and servlets. As you have seen in most of the recent presentations, all prior work is available for review on the web space. You should be having your files saved in the same area in order to easily FTP them as we go forward through the remainder of the weeks. As you've seen with JavaScript, Java programming language works within HTML code. Java programming language can be embedded into Java server pages. Java server pages are compiled on servlets. Java server pages, obviously, is a server-side web technology. Its primary function is rendering content. The primary function of a servlet is processing the content. You may have seen a Java server page online years ago where it asked you if you wanted to enable Java or not with the little coffee cup with the little display inside of it. When you click yes, the Java server page worked for you. If you click no, the Java server page did not work for you. Even though these are kind of outdated at this point, it is a good idea to know how to at least have some basic idea of what they are and how they work. So what exactly is a Java server page? Well, you can put everything the same way as you do with HTML pages. You just change the extension to .jsp. And within the HTML code, you can have Java code directly inside your HTML script using our tag listed here. However, it requires Apache Tomcat installation on the web server in order for it to work properly. So what is a servlet? Servlet compiles the code used to deliver content over the HTTP protocol. It was developed as a Java class conforming to the Java Servlet API. And as previously seen, it's typically used with JSPs. So your servlet would process the information inside a .jsp file and spit out a web page or server page as appropriate. Java server pages are geared more towards rendering content. The servlet processes them, figures out how they should look. Consider last week's MVC. The model is your business model, which houses all of the business logic. The view is your user's view into your application, which we're covering Java server pages. And the controller is the glue between the model and the view. In this instance, Spring and Struts are two popular applications used in Java Web. Servlets also process request data, enrich it, and forward the request onto a Java server page for display. So it goes into the Java server page, finds the information it needs in order for it to return to you, the user viewing the Java server page. They work together by allowing you to write dynamic web pages, specifically for Java web applications. It's built on top of the Java Servlet specification. As previously mentioned, it allows you to import a class, which we will see momentarily. They work together. As mentioned, a lot of older Java web applications you may see on the web have this feature. And here is a common misnomer, which in turn suggests that HTML is somewhat similar to Java server pages. So related to active server pages, Java server pages are dynamic, whereas some active server pages are not. JSP is more convenient than a typical servlet, which may just feature generic print line statements. Against a server-side includes generally have specific aspects associated with them. Java server pages are more relative and more available to different ideologies and possibilities. So what's the difference between Java server pages and JavaScript? Well, JavaScript is slightly different from Java. It's a modification of Java used within HTML code, whereas Java server pages can specifically have Java code within them. And as mentioned previously, JSP is dynamic compared to static HTML. So here are the three specific methods in order to set an HTTP status code related to Java server pages. You have your public void set status, whatever your specific status is at that time, your public void send redirect, which may send you to a different location, or your public void send error, such as a 404, that the specific site is no longer there, or missing, or you're looking for something that does not exist. So here are some generic applications of a servlet. It reads the information sent in the browser. It reads the information you request via the browser, and so on and so forth. It also works with specific images as well as other types of code we've touched on, such as XML. Here's visually how things work on the web. With our server-side programs, such as Java server pages, in this case, we're focusing on applications. You may see other instances where there is a database, but for our purposes, we are focusing on the applications aspect. So we have some parts of the Java server page that we need to actually have in order for it to run properly. In order for it to start, we need the init, short for initialize. So your statement would have public void init with your function config. This initializes our code. Then destroy. As I'm sure you understand, this function, public void destroy, destroys. Does it end? Technically, it does. In between, we have our service function, which we will see momentarily. It is the basis of our code. It tells the code what to do. Init is initializing. We start, destroy, closes, but we need something that goes in between and actually does something. That is where our service function comes in. You're probably more familiar with GUIs, or graphical user interfaces. It displays objects that convey information and represent actions that can be taken by the user. These are more common these days than Java server pages, which is why I wanted to briefly touch on them. So first, let's build our assignment 12. In order to find our number greater than 1, we'll use math.random Java code. Notice, all of our Java server pages codes must be within the tag specified earlier. You'll notice we have our HTML code. Anytime Java server pages code is here, we have our specific tag associated. So we do number greater than 0.99 so that it's greater than 1. If that's true, we print out a message, you'll have a lucky day. Else, we print out a message, well, life goes on. And we even add in a specific button where we can click and try again. Do this multiple times. However, again, in order for this to run properly, Apache Tomcat must be installed on the web server. This is the entirety of the assignment 12 code. HTML through HTML with our Java code embedded in various parts. So building project 5, we need to import our Java Servlet classes. Here we have our first public class. Servlet extends HTTP Servlet. We have our comment here. Runs when the servlet is loaded onto the server. We have our public void init, which initializes our servlet. We then go through with our doGet function. This requests our servlet and gets a response. And we go through and we print out our output as needed. Notice how this is creating an HTML file. HTML tag open, HTML tag close, information in between. We then have our doPost, which again goes for a request and a response. It's just repeating the same action as the previous slide. We then need to destroy or end our project. If you so choose, you can add in other variables, instances, methods, if you're familiar with Java. And that is all for this week. You have now become somewhat familiar with Java server pages and servlets.